Hello, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to talk about two popular helicopters specifically, the WL Toys V912 and the MJX F645 or F45, depending on what circles you travel in. They're both great helicopters for beginners to intermediates. I started out with the CMS 107, moved up to the V911 from WL Toys, a smaller version of this, and then progressed on up to these two helicopters. One thing I can say from my experience is these are almost precise machines. There are variables. They're mass produced in China. They're as precise as can be, but each individual helicopter is slightly different in that when you get it, it needs to be set up. Uh, this flew perfectly out of the box, but after a couple flights, things started to go funny. It would fly sideways. It would need to be trimmed. I would trim it out, bring it in for the day, go out the next day, and it would need to be trimmed all over again. So it was kind of perplexing, but it makes you a pro on knowing how your helicopter works. Now, the V912 and the MJX, like I said, are both beginner helicopters. Both great steps up from the smaller starter helicopters, so to speak. Now to trim them out, with the V912, you'll notice there's servo horns on either side, okay? And what you're trying to do is level your swash plate right here. Well, leveling your swash plate again is kind of not completely accurate. In fact, it's a little inaccurate again because they're almost precise machines. Sometimes you're never going to get that swash plate quite level. I don't know why. But in order to level your swash plate or to trim it out as best as you can, what you first want to do is disconnect either one of these turnbuckles. Okay? You also want to make sure your transmitter settings, trim settings, are set to 0. Now once you've done that, you want to turn on the helicopter and you want to turn on the transmitter. Let it bind. Now that it's bound, the servo horns will move into their neutral position. Turn your transmitter off, turn your helicopter off, and now you can get to leveling your swash plate. Now, each of these turnbuckles is threaded. Now you can turn them out to extend them or turn them in clockwise, if you will, to shorten them. Each servo horn also has holes in them where these servo buckles, these turnbuckles connect to the swash plate. Even for a beginner, you could actually move it in one hole on either side because it seems to help trim the helicopter better, but not really advance the settings so you can't control the helicopter and fly it. Now, after you've made your servo horns neutral, so to speak, what you want to do is set your helicopter level and try and best as you can to eyeball leveling the swash plate. There's other people on the internet, they get levels out, they get real intricate. Again, you don't need to do that with this. These are very basic helicopters. Even the slightest modification should achieve what you're trying to do without getting real technical and getting all kinds of things out to do that. You should be able to do this by hand, by eye. So anyway, level this out as best as you can, turning each turnbuckle appropriately and snapping them back on. Now, a word about that. These particularly on the V912, they're very difficult to remove and they're very difficult to put back on, even after you've done it several times. They're very tough. But the thing I notice is they can stretch, and that can throw you all out of whack. You can make an adjustment, and all of a sudden you think it's going to fly beautifully. You get it up in the air, and it's all over the place. These actual little turnbuckle heads that snap on, when you pull them off and on, sometimes you squeeze them and they kind of become elongated, which allows just that slight area allows that swash plate to move even more, which is counterproductive. So there are pliers specifically that you can buy to take these off and remove them. Makes it a lot easier because it's very difficult to do that. But anyway, once you've done that, you would of course assemble your helicopter, snap everything back together, take it outside and fly it. You should achieve good results. Now, if your helicopter is cocked sideways as you're flying, you know, the props are level, but the helicopter seems a little bit cocked sideways. That'll take care of that. Sure, you can trim it out on your helicopter, and usually the maximum trim settings on the receiver is what causes the helicopter to cock sideways. So if you want to fix that and it help the machine fly more correctly, you can also, like I said, this will fix that. Set your trim settings back to 0, take it outside after you've done this, try it out. You might need some slight trim modifications, or you might need to land it and take it apart and set it together, or put it back together again. I hope that explains that with the V912. The MJX F45, it's the same thing. Now, the servos are in slightly different positions. On the V912, they're on either side of the helicopter. This one here is, rather to the side, it's right here in the middle of the helicopter, and then this one's on the side. It's the same process for trimming out this helicopter as that one. It's a bit of trial and error, hit or miss. Now, this one is defective right out of the box. Came from Banggood in China. Doesn't fly. The radio or the helicopter, I haven't investigated it enough. But at any rate, I'll get it fixed. But again, the same settings, the same procedure. Bind your helicopter, then turn everything off. Your servo horns should be at a neutral setting. Then you can manually trim your swash plate. Basically, you just kind of eyeball it and adjust your turnbuckle settings, and then snap them back on. Again, you should notice a difference outside when you fly it. And don't give up, guys, because doing this will really teach you how it flies. I was a little bit nervous about trimming my helicopter and taking this apart and messing something up and not getting it back together. Not a problem, really. Just go ahead and jump right in and do it. You really can't mess up, as long as you put everything back together the way it was, which isn't hard because there's not many processes or anything to take apart other than the ball links on either one. Take them off, adjust them, snap them back on, go outside and fly. Okay? Now, also, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got some great videos on there. I've just got into these. Excuse me for a minute. These are the Hubsang quads, UAV drones. Awesome little helicopters, quadcopters. This one has a standard definition camera. This one is the entry-level model, no camera. But in high winds, these will handle the wind better than these two bigger helicopters. No joke. So anyway, it's on my channel. I hope this helps you guys out. The last video like this, the lighting wasn't right. I apologize. I'm going to link this video to that video. I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions, please drop me a line. Oh, one more thing. There are modifications you can do, like heat sinks to the engines and the tail motors. I don't really think you need to go through the expense. These motors die out pretty quick. You'll get 25, 30 flights, good flights, maybe 40 if you're lucky, and you'll be replacing the motors on both of them. Tail motors and main motors. So for the price, I don't really think you need to get that deep into the modifications. Again, thanks for watching my video. Have a good day.